So thank you. Welcome back to the session. Let's continue our discussion on topic ICT and e-learning. In the first session, we try to understand the importance of ICT and how ICT can be used in education sector so that we can address some of the challenges and remove some of the barriers which poses a lot of challenges in the current education system in India. So now let's continue our discussion in this direction to understand some more points. So let's first understand what is e-learning, because we mentioned in the title that with the support of ICT and e-learning, we can enhance the quality of education and also its affordability, accessibility. So in this context, let's try to understand what is e-learning. So this is the simple definition for e-learning. I hope many of you are already familiar. It's a type of learning where internet technologies are used to deliver a broad array of solutions that enhance knowledge and performance. The students and the teacher interact online in this type of learning. And today's session is one such example of e-learning. So we are using the technology where we have a virtual class and there is a teacher who is giving instructions and the participants are just listening to that. So this is an example of e-learning. So why e-learning? So one of the experts has mentioned that there are two great equalizers in life, and that is the internet and education. By combining the two, e-learning will be the great equalizer in the next century. By eliminating the barriers of time, distance, and socio-economic status, individuals can now take charge of their own lifelong learning. And that is what is the support of e-learning with today's technology. The first thing is the barriers of time. So many employed people did not get time to attend the classes as usual, the way the students are attending. Of course, you are attending FDP classes and orientation program, refresher programs. Of course, this is the part of our regular activities, academic activities, which are very much essential for our upliftment of our profession, to get the knowledge updated, and also maybe from the point of view of our promotion as an academic, right, promotion. So that's how this e-learning will definitely eliminate the barriers of time. Excuse me. I think Rajesh, Dr. Rajesh. Okay, please unmute. Right. So we can eliminate the barriers of time, distance, and socio-economic status, where individuals can now take charge of their own lifelong learning. Right. There is no barriers of time. You can learn at any time at your convenience. And even the distance doesn't matter, as you have already witnessed it. You can register for the course which is offered in any premier institute or university across the globe. Right. So the distance doesn't matter, and the socio-economic status, whoever you are, whether you are a middle class or a higher class or below middle class, it doesn't matter. Right. Our socio-economic status doesn't matter, which will never deny education. Right. That is what is the power of today's digital world and the technology. So we can engage in lifelong learning with the support of the ICT and e-learning platforms. So this is what is said by John Chambers, CEO of Cisco System, as Cisco is a very popular company which offers networking services to us, right? So with this, now let's understand e-learning, which with much more important points. E-learning can be as effective as traditional learning at a lower cost, because definitely it eliminates the barriers of time, distance, and socioeconomic status. Definitely, it can be considered as a very effective as a traditional training at a lower cost. And e-learning reaches a wide target audience by engaging learners who have difficulty attending conventional classroom training. I think today's session is the best example for this. And delivery costs for e-learning are considerably lower than those for a classroom facilities, where we need to provide infrastructure facilities and travel cost and other facilities. But this e-learning will definitely overcome all those things, and definitely the delivery costs for e-learning are considerably lower than those for the classroom facilities. So e-learning can offer effective instructional methods such as practicing with associated feedback. So by making use of some tools and the technology, you can learn a particular concept and you can assess yourself with associated feedback. For example, you have read one particular topic. Having read, the system will automatically pose some questions like true or false, or a multiple choice questions, or even some critical thinking questions. Now you will answer those questions, and immediately system will assess whether your answer is correct or not to that question. So by answering those questions and getting back the results, you'll be able to assess yourself how much you have learned in that particular academic activity. And that's what practicing with associated feedback, and that is supported by e-learning platforms and tools. And combining collaboration activities with self-paced study. The self-paced means according to my convenience, according to my grasping power and capability, I can define the collaboration activities with other teams, and I can learn according to my convenience, right? And that is possible with e-learning platforms and tools. And personalizing learning paths based on learner needs and using simulation and games. So that is one of the very important attribute of e-learning tools and the platform, where we can define our learning path depending upon our interest and depending upon our convenience. So all learners receive the same quality of instruction because there is no dependence on a specific instructor. For example, you just understand that we have recorded this lecture and this will be made available, right? So by just going through that audio or a video lecture, you will be able to understand some more points when you watch first time or second time. And if you cannot understand some points, you can refer additional material and you can better understand. So all learners will receive the same quality of instruction because there is no dependence on a specific instructor and there is no bias and prejudice as such. So with this, now let's look at the characteristics of e-learning. I quickly cover up without going into the depth. The first is the content. When you are using a e-learning platform, the content will be delivered in the form of a text, video, graphics, and sound. So all are put together and we can call it as a multimedia content. So whenever you are presenting a concept by making use of this multimedia features, definitely that content will be more attractive, effective, and the learner will be engaged and will be alert. And that is one of the important feature and characteristics of an e-learning platform. And going to the next, collaboration and the sharing. So you have a communities of practice. As I already mentioned, like a ResearchGate or a LinkedIn or any other social networks. For example, you are carrying out a research on a particular topic in a particular discipline, maybe an economics or a management or a chemistry, etc. You will be having the people who are working in a similar domain and the similar topic. So you can establish a communication, and you can have a community of practice so that you can interact with them and you can exchange your knowledge, ideas, and you can seek for clarifications and solutions and etc. So that gives you a better experience and a better learning. So communities of practice is possible, and you can have a peer-to-peer interactions and other trainings, experts, mentors, and advisors. All these things are possible in e-learning platforms. And next is the delivery, where we exploit the internet and intranet, the web and distance learning, and also other gadgets like CD-ROM and etc. So through this, we are delivering the content to the audience or the participants. And it also supports the administration, that is enrollment monitoring and progress assessment. So in a high-tech colleges or universities and schools, so everything has been digitized, and definitely the office can find it more convenient to go with such a digitized environment where enrollment can happen in a digitized way, monitoring can also be done, and progress assessment can also be done. So everything will be very, very precise and very effective. So when it comes to the resources, we can use other training materials. You can search through web and you can find lot many materials. For example, you want to gather information on a particular topic, so you will get plenty of materials, but the only thing is you have to put your effort and understanding and what is appropriate, what is relevant, and how you can make it much more effective to the audience. So that's how training materials are available, and web-based training is also possible, and electronic performance support systems are also possible with e-learning platform. So apart from this, there is a learner's control, that is a practice, a pacing, feedback, content, and accessibility. So you can practice any number of times, right? So you can listen to a particular audio lecture any number of times, or you can watch any video lecture any number of times. So you can practice, right? And there are some practicing tools as well through which you can better practice any laboratory sessions until you get a required amount of skill to handle that. So that's what is the practice. And also the pacing. The pacing means you need not spend 2 hours continuously or 3 hours continuously. Depending upon your convenient and availability of time, you can engage in learning. Maybe in one day you can spend 15 minutes, another day you can spend 30 minutes, some other day you can spend 1 hour. So depending upon your convenience, so you can pace the learning, right? And similarly, you can get a feedback. Whatever you have learned, you can assess yourself with a feedback mechanism so that you will be able to understand what is the effectiveness of your learning and whether the amount of concentration, what is actually needed to understand that is okay. So you can get a feedback and you can assess accordingly. And the content is also you can filter and you can refine which you feel more relevant, right? The content and also the accessibility, as I already mentioned, you can access to any such material anytime at your convenience. There is no barriers of time and also the space. So these are as a glimpse or a nutshell the characteristics of e-learning. So if at all we want to build an e-learning culture in any educational institution in order to enhance the quality of learning and accessibility, the 3 important entities are: one is the teacher, the administrator, and also the learner. So what is the role of a teacher or administrator and also the learner? So the teacher should develop knowledge and skills in order to engage in such e-learning environment or a platform, understand learning and its need, facilitate learning, and create learning opportunities. So these are the major responsibilities of a teacher in any e-learning environment or a platform. When it comes to the administrator, the responsibilities are a create a learning environment. Now look at this example scenario. Being the University of Mysore and HRDC Center as an administrator creates a learning environment because they have organized a workshop on ICT, and they invited me as an expert to deliver a lecture on ICT, right? And such an environment has been created by the University of Mysore HRDC Center, and that is what is the responsibility as an administrator. So create a learning environment, provide ICT infrastructure. So whatever the Zoom link platform and the infrastructure which is very much required to conduct the online sessions, like the tool and the speaker and the monitor and the camera. So such infrastructure facilities needed for e-learning has supported by the HRDC center, and that's what, as an administrator, that is the responsibility. Then resources for a lifelong learning. So whatever the classes that have been organized or conducted by the HRDC, all the material related to those classes are made available. So I'm sure that you being the participants, you have all the rights to access such material, and through which you can engage in lifelong learning, right? Or that center as an administrator provide resources for a lifelong learning. So the university has a digital library, right? So you can access the digital library and you can continue learning lifelong, right? And that's what the idea. As an administrator, that is the responsibility. As a learner, what is our responsibility? Right, we should be self-directed, we should have an interest, right? And we should have a curiosity to know about the recent technology, the knowledge in any sector for that matter. So we should be self-directed. We should not expect someone to direct us, or someone to control us, or someone to advise us, because we are already grown up and we have a responsibility, or we are learned people. So we should be self-directed, self-motivated, self-regulating, and lifelong learning, right? So we should have such kind of self-discipline within us, and with those attributes, we are sure that we can build a e-learning culture. So these are the major entities and the responsibilities to build an e-learning culture. So with this, I quickly cover up some of the important benefits for a teacher through this e-learning platform, as to improve their tutoring style. So let's quickly cover up the points. The first one is the connecting. What does it mean by connecting? So being a tutor or a professor or a teacher in a school or a colleges or in a university, it allows teachers to stay connected to the students outside of school hours in order to exchange resources, videos, ideas, methodologies, and pedagogical practices. Definitely in future, we are already in a competitive world, and in future it will be much more accelerated. So definitely we need to take it as a challenge that the students who are studying in our institutions should have much more knowledge when compared to any other institutions, or they must be on par with the other students' knowledge. So that is what is our responsibility. If at all we want to achieve that, we should definitely get connected with the students, not only in a regular class hours, but outside the class hours also. So definitely, through which we can exchange the resources, videos, ideas, methodologies, and pedagogical practices, and through which we can improve our tutoring style. Then the flexibility, different resources such as audios, videos, text, presentations, and quizzes can be used in their tutoring methods to suit the learning style of their students. So definitely we will be having a heterogeneous group, as I already mentioned, right? So with this multimedia content, we can make them pick up whatever the mode they like, right? And they can be comfortable in their learning. So that's what is called the flexibility. And the next is the innovation. The use of new technologies gives teachers the freedom to experiment in their teaching practice and ability to make changes if something doesn't work, right? Because we definitely have a feedback mechanism, and through which we can try to incorporate new technologies, and we can experiment whether this way of delivering content to the student is more effective or not. If not effective, how we can fine tune that, we can make it more effective. So such kind of innovations can also be done through your creative ideas and the technologies, so that you can improve your tutoring style. So accessibility, online platform allow teachers to develop and create their material according to their schedule and whenever they want. And that's what is the freedom and the flexibility we have. So passion-based learning. Online platforms allows teachers to support their students outside the classroom and give them additional instructions on subjects like art, singing, chess, and cooking. So, because when a student is engaged in a regular learning environment, maybe either in a high school or in a PUC or even degree as well. So, there are some students who are good at regular curriculum. Apart from that, they are also interested and good at art, singing, chess, and cooking. So definitely we can find out such interest in the students, and we can encourage them and motivate them, and we can give them instructions in online only, where they can learn all those kind of extracurricular activities. So that's what is called a passion based learning, which can be supported by e-learning. And next is the efficiency, a constant feedback from the students about whether they understand the material, if it is interesting to them, etc. So definitely we have that practice. So after a few hours of a delivery, so we can ask our students whether my lecture or way of delivering the content is okay for the students, right? So because the students or audience are the best judges, because many times we assume that we have delivered a good content and we have delivered in a right way, right? But it's always better to get a feedback from the students or the participants or the audience, so that we can fine tune ourselves, right? Whether whatever the material we have prepared for them is easy for the students to understand, and whether it's interesting, right? We can get a sincere feedback, and accordingly we can fine tune, and that becomes much more efficient, right? And that's how we can fine tune our tutoring style. Then better communication with the parents, not only with the students, even we can be in touch with parents as well. So it offers a greater transparency to the parents in terms of how the children are preparing for school or even at college level as well. Then saves time definitely by eliminating the need to commute to the school during evenings and weekends. Educators can spend more time on learning concept. So these things have already been practiced in many schools, where you call it as residential schools or high-end schools, right? So in such schools, they've already practiced all these kinds of stuff, and I'm sure that in future, and this will become a common practice even at graduate and postgraduate level as well. So apart from this, it also supports a greener and more cost effective, because it reduces the cost when it comes to classroom rentals, travel fees, and also the printing cost. So with these benefits, and we are sure that e-learning will help teachers to improve their tutoring style. So when it comes to self-development, because we being teachers, we are always like students, because every time we have to read, we have to understand, we have to update ourselves with the recent current affairs, right? Maybe it's a technology, or it may be literature, or it may be anything as such. So it's very much important for us to involve in a self development. So this e-learning for teachers that encourage self development, right? So look at the point, the creativity. On a daily basis, teachers are challenged to become more versatile and creative in order to attract the attention of the students. Using a varieties of online resources for an online training provokes and develops the creative thinking process of educators. So many times we get a comment from the students that if we are following the same content and the same mode of delivery every year, the students will automatically put something like a comment, right? And this person will not show anything new. He just follows the yellow pages or something like that. So, but with the support of e-learning platform, the tools and etc., we can be much more creative, and we can understand the learning level of the students and their expectations, and accordingly we can be little more creative in providing content to the students, and that is possible to experiment and also with the e-learning, and which enables us for a self-development as well. And another is lifelong learning. We already mentioned e-learning platforms are one of the channels that educators can use to deepen their knowledge and increase their skills. So definitely whatever the subject we have studied when we were studying high school or PUC or at bachelor's degree, so those curriculum content are not there right now. Okay, so definitely the syllabus keeps on changing, the level of understanding, the depth keeps on changing, right? So we should always get updated with such a changing environment. So definitely we are, no, we put ourselves into a lifelong learning, and definitely e-learning platform will support such lifelong learning through channels and with the tools. Then building a community. Online platform allow educators to stay connected with colleagues from all over the world, as well as to share ideas and give inspiration. And self-reflection, the modern platforms bring more benefits of e-learning to teachers, like the ability to make audio and video recordings of their lessons, and then to watch, analyze, and reflect on the same recordings afterwards. So many, definitely, when a person has been appointed for teaching and he doesn't have an experience, say for example, so now if at all you want to know how he has delivered a content, whether the language quality is good, whether the tempo is good, whether the right content has been delivered with the right examples and etc. So how you are going to evaluate all those things, right? Because those things are very much important for us to assess and improve ourselves. That is what is called self-reflection. So what best we can do is, whatever the lecture we have delivered, let's record it and watch yourself and identify what are the mistakes we have made, right? So having understood those mistakes, if we rectify those mistakes in subsequent, and if we are conscious about those mistakes, then definitely there will be a much more and significant improvement in our delivery, right? Because many times you have seen that the people using similar words quite frequently, say for example, okay, 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 etc., but they don't understand that, they are not conscious about it, but we being audience sitting at the other side, we are commenting on that, right? And if the person has a poor vocabulary, even that time also we are going to comment on that. So how can we assess ourselves that we have such kind of limitations or shortcomings with us? Definitely the recorded videos, right, will definitely help us. We can watch ourselves and we can understand what are our limitations, we can overcome that, and that definitely helps us to improve ourselves. So with this, the observations, observing other educators via different online courses can be very beneficial. So teachers can compare different teaching styles, practices, and etc. They can become more aware of what kind of teachers they are, because many times we have commented on some great personalities, right? For example, a Kuvempu or Bendre, right? Or any great teachers, right? And there are, we can call them as inspiring teachers, motivating teachers. Why those people have been treated as such great teachers? Because their teaching style, their practices, their creativity, their way of delivering a content, right, their level of understanding, everything is something beyond, right? So definitely when we watch such great personalities lecture or videos as such, then we can understand ourselves that, and we are motivated, why can't we try to become such great, or at least we can follow their ideas, and we also become good teachers, right? If not a great teachers, at least an inspiring teachers, by incorporating those qualities of teaching, right? So definitely it is possible with the support of e-learning, where we can watch the videos delivered by a great personalities, and we can understand how they have delivered a content with examples or scenario or practices. And if we follow those things in our teaching, definitely we can find a significant improvement in us. And that's what is an example of the self-development with the support of e-learning. So with this, here I am just presenting before you some example animations which we can use in the e-learning platform. So many of us are very much familiar with a lock, but how many of us are aware of internal mechanism of a lock? But if at all I want to explain how lock works to a student either studying in PUC or SSLC or in a bachelor degree, we can definitely show an example visualization, something like this, and we can make the student learn better. So this is how the internal mechanism of a lock works. Okay. So similarly, look at another example video where a cheetah uses its tail to counter torsion and keep balance as it chases its prey. Because we know that the cheetah runs faster, and whenever it runs faster, then definitely it has to balance. how it uses its tail in order to balance that we can teach to the kids, right? And that's how we can make them more curious and interesting in learning. And similarly, we have another example related to botany, like beans tendrils slowly rotate to find solid supports to climb. So many of us are not aware of this process, right? Even it is not easily seen or visible, but through these kind of observations and simulations, we can present the students these facts, and they love and they
Your
are very
voice
curious
is not
to
audible.
understand. Yes, madam. Hello. Hello, Dr. Kausar. I hope the video is played.
Yes, sir. Video is not. No, sir. It's not audible. It's not audible, sir.
What, madam? What's? Hello.
Sir, it is not audible, sir. Only video is played.
GIF file.
Okay.
Okay. Just you can understand the process, right? Okay. So this is an example of development of the human face in the womb, right? We can show it, and a biology teacher can explain how development of human face in the womb and other kind of process, scientific process with respect to this subject. And similarly, look at another example. This shows how chains are assembled, right? We have seen, but we have not seen the process. But this helps us to make more knowledgeable in this, how the chains are assembled, right? So visualization will help kids better understand the process rather than explaining it in the form of a text. And this another example which shows dogs cup their tongues like this to lap up water. We have not noticed, right? We did not get an opportunity such a close observations, but the experts, maybe few experts have observed it, but that can be shown to everyone through these kind of animations and videos and all. So this is just one example. And look at the solar system, right? Definitely when we teach primary school kids or high school kids, right, we can show how the solar system, right, and how the planets are moving around the sun, lunar eclipse, solar eclipse, right? Many things we can explain, right? Okay, so this an example of how the animated videos and all will help students to understand the subject better. Okay, so rather than a mere text. And this is an example of a Pythagorean theorem, right? We all have studied, the mathematics teachers have studied the Pythagoras theorem, right? Okay, so we can explain the concept of Pythagoras theorem with such kind of simulations so that the students can better understand, right? And they can prove, right? So with this, now I just draw your attention to some of the top e-learning companies in India. One such company is the Byju's. We are already, many of us already aware of it. The Byju's, which is one of the top e-learning companies in India, which is headquartered in Bangalore, India. Byju's boasts to receive a first investment in Asia from Chance Zuckerberg Initiative. This education technology and online tutoring firm has created a K-12 learning smartphone app that offers highly creative, adaptive, and engaging learning programs. And these programs not only serve school students, but also train students for various competitive exams such as IIT, JEE, CAT, GRE, IAS, and many more. So all of you are quite familiar with this Byju's because you have seen ads in the televisions and in other media. So this is one of the top e-learning companies in India. Another is the Dexter's Education, and even many of you have heard about it. Again, it also offers many very important features, right? So it is headquartered in Bangalore. Again, it is a Dexter Education provides a customized industry-based education solutions for a corporate learning, talent management, and enhanced end-user adoption. The company majorly deals with digitizing education and education consulting, and their competencies lie in the fields such as ecosystem, technological, and language. With this innovative learning solutions for the learners and organizations, the company successfully ranks among the top e-learning companies in India, right? And similarly, we have Camp solutions, right? Please go through it. And apart from this, we also witness many other e-learning companies in India like IGNO, you're aware of it, NIIT, EduCord, Simply Learn, Juice Learning, Merit Nation, and Excel Soft. So many more are there, but I just refer these are the top e-learning companies in India as per some sources which I got through the web. So with this, there is a e-learning platform. Many of you are already aware of it. That is MOOCs, Massive Online Open Courses. Example, Coursera or a Future Learn. So even the universities have recommended the students to take up the open elective courses or any courses of their interest in online, that is in a MOOCs platform, and whatever the credits they earn, that can be transferred to their regular program, right? For example, a student studying in a bachelor degree or in a master's degree can definitely study one open elective courses, and the students, if found convenient in online platform, can register for a open course, open elective courses in online of their interest, and they can learn, and that student will be assessed, and whatever the grades awarded by the tutor, and that grade and credit will be transferred to the regular curriculum or a regular program. And that's what is the initiative or the guidelines as per University of Mysore. And I believe that a similar encouragement is there in other universities and other education sector as well. So MOOCs is a massive open online courses, and depending upon our interest, even the teachers can also enroll for courses in MOOCs, and we can get a knowledge on the subject of our interest. So virtual learning environment such as Learn or Blackboard, which I already mentioned. Then video streaming services such as YouTube, we are quite familiar. And virtual instructor-led learning, that is WebEx or webinars. Discussion boards like Facebook and WhatsApp. And forums like LinkedIn, ResearchGate, and etc. And podcast, a recorded program of talk, music, and etc. So these are some of the e-learning platform which we can make use of for our lifelong learning and for our self-development. So when it comes to e-learning platforms, that Udemy is one such platform where it offers a huge varieties of courses like 30-day refund policy and free certificates of completion. Another one is Udacity, a nano degree program suitable for enterprises and paid certificates of completion. And DataCamp, free certificates of completion focused on data science skills and flexible learning timetable. And also EDIC, that is university level courses are offered and suitable for enterprises and paid certificates of completion. So a few more platforms are Coursera, that professional certificates, university level courses and online degree programs, and Skills Share, real life projects, 30-day refund policy, and free courses available. And LinkedIn Learning, that is a business related courses, integration with LinkedIn, professionally made interface. The Khan Academy, adapted for early education, suitable for parents or kids as test preparation material as well. So these are the few to name which are called e-learning platforms, that is MOOCs, massive open online courses. So with this understanding, now I just go to the another very important dimension of the e-learning, that is the future of e-learning, that's a virtual reality and augmented reality. And many of you have experienced this virtual reality and augmented reality. When you have visited an exhibition, there you can see a 12D show, right? I think many of you have attended the 12D show where you can see the augmented, virtual reality, right? So you are on the sea and you are in the flight or in the train, as if you get a real feeling, as if you are traveling in the sea, right? As if you are flying, etc. That's what is called a virtual reality, right? So apart from that, we can also integrate augmented reality, where we can have a real environment and we can augment the real environment with a new entities or new features, right? And with all these technology support, we can make e-learning much more interesting, engaged, right? And that's what is the future of e-learning. So virtual reality is the use of computer technology to create a 3D interactive environment that users can interact with. The virtual reality has a lot of potential to boost e-learning and create interactive learning modules by incorporating 3D graphics with real world experiences. Now you may raise a question why we need it. So definitely there is an answer to this question. For example, one can create courses on how to work in dangerous or a high risk environment, explore with hazardous material, or perform other complex activities without actually being exposed to such an environment, right? So but definitely many people are working in a very high risky environment like chemical plants, right, or any mining areas, right? So definitely whenever we want to get an experience, we cannot just go in real time and we can get an experience there, right? So but the virtual reality and augmented reality techniques can be used to get more experience and try out what are the possible risks or dangers which we may have to experience, or we may have to face, right? And how to be aware of such kind of hazardous or high risk environment. So those trainings can be taken through this kind of virtual reality and augmented reality environment. Another example could be here, the medical and healthcare training industry can use virtual reality technology very effectively to train in the process and procedures. The virtual reality environment will allow the learners to try and practice procedures without fearing the negative impact on real patients. For example, a surgeon wants to learn how to make a surgery, maybe a high surgery or any part of the human body, right? How can he practice? Definitely now the people are experiencing with dead bodies and all, but definitely you can support such kind of training with the support of technology, and that too with a virtual reality environment, right? And definitely even another dimension like anesthesia, right? So how can we give an anesthesia in an effective way, because a patient may be suffering from other ailments, right? But you have to be very careful. So you can monitor or you can administer, and you can also identify the possible risks, right? So the virtual reality will provide you such an environment where without any fear you can practice and you can become more and more experienced and comfortable. And once you gain such a confidence, maybe you can get into additional training in real environment and you will become more perfect and confident in your profession. And that's what is the idea with this virtual reality and augmented reality concepts, which are supported by the e-learning techniques and tools. So with this, when it comes to the future of e-learning, that virtual reality and augmented reality, why? Why use 3D in your classroom? Definitely this is the question which normally arises in us. So here is some of the some important points we must remember to answer this particular question. It is a 3D world, and definitely attention is one important attribute. We can gain attention of the learners, and understanding ability will be improved, and retention capacity will be enhanced, and behavior will be very good, and we can monitor, and of course we can motivate the students. So these are some of the very important benefits of the e-learning through virtual reality and augmented reality concepts. So here is a survey made by some experts, right? According to the survey, here are some important points which are worth reading and understanding. The first one is the attention. According to the survey, it says that 100% of the teachers felt that the students or pupils paid more attention in 3D lessons than a normal. 92% of the students were regularly attentive during 3D lessons compared to only 46 in standard lessons. Without 3D, less than half of the classroom are actually paying regular attention. This is what is the statistics. The students with attention disorders showed a positive change in attention level and communication during the 3D part of the lesson. So many times you have come across some students who are hyperactive or who cannot concentrate, right, in a regular standard classes, right? They are fickle minded. But when you expose these kind of technology driven classes to those students, their behavior can be monitored and their attention disorder can be controlled, and that can show a positive change in the attention level and communication in the 3D lessons, right? And that's what is the survey, and that's related to the attention. The next is the retention. So how much you can retain? For example, I have attended the class for 1 hour or 2 hours. How much of the content I can understand, grasp, and retain, which I can use, right? And that's what is very much important. And many times we find it difficult that many times the students cannot retain right? They cannot retain. And that's why, because many times the performance of the students in the class or in the examination is very poor, right? Because of the retention ability, right? Of course, not all students, but majority of the students have the problem or issue. But here is the survey which says that the students taught in 3D could remember more than 2D class after 4 weeks of having studied the material. Learning in 3D doubled the rate of improvement from pre to post testing by 17% compared to 8% in 2D learning. And 3D taught pupils or students were more likely to recall detailed sequences of processes and were able to order concepts better. So this is what is the retention ability when we incorporate the technology in teaching. Of course, as I already mentioned, it cannot replace the great teacher, but in the hands of the great teacher, it is transformational. So this is how we can understand the importance of the technology in the hands of a great teacher. And next is the understanding. So the students taught in 3D are more inclined to ask more complex questions, which would otherwise not comprehend by the students. 100% of the teachers with 3D animations made the student understand the things better. The teachers found that the student discovered new things through 3D and had enhanced skills in describing their learning. That is related to the understanding. But when it comes to the behavior, 70% of the teachers noted that the pupils' behavior had improved when using the 3D. The use of 3D led to the positive changes in the communication patterns and improved classroom interaction, right? Because many times when we are taking classes for strength of 60 students in a class, it's very difficult for a teacher to manage the entire class. Because when you started writing something on the board, at the backstage, the students started murmuring themselves and commenting, right? So all these things we have already noticed. That's what is called the behavior, right? Then how to control a class of 60 students, right? Because even though we are inspiring teachers, but many times it is very difficult to control. But definitely when it comes to the behavior, this technology and e-learning platform with AR and VR has definitely show a positive sign. So 70% of the teachers noted that the student behavior had improved when using the 3D, right? That's what with respect to the behavior. When it comes to the motivation, higher levels of pupil satisfaction with 3D learning, and pupils noted happier teachers when teaching using 3D. So these are some of the observations made by some experts in this direction. So how this e-learning with VR and AR and other tools will support learning, keeping these parameters in mind. So with this, now let's understand some important points related to the influence of ICT in learning. I just sum up because many things we have already discussed, but I just want to recollect a few important points in this direction. So ICT helps to provide interactive learning experiences. ICT simulates and motivates students to learn. ICT provides comfortable learning. ICT aids in the understanding of difficult concepts and processes, as you have already noticed some of the videos, right? So with those videos, we can make students to understand the concept easily and better understanding, right? And depth of understanding as well. Then ICT caters to different learning styles, and ICT helps students to gain valuable computer skills, and ICT aids in collaboration and group work. So all these things we have already discussed and we have covered. So I just suggest you to remember these points, right, which definitely makes importance and significance in the context of ICT in learning. So when it comes to the benefits of ICT in education to the main stakeholders, right? The first is the student. The benefits are increased access, flexibility of content and delivery, combination of work and education, learner-centered approach, high quality of education, and new ways of interaction. So all these are the benefits as far as a student is concerned with respect to the ICT in education. Now, when it comes to the employees, high quality, cost effective professional development in the workplace. That's what we have already witnessed. So sitting at your offices or home, you are attending a workshop where you are learning something, right? For a professional development, maybe for our promotions, we need such kind of workshops, not only from a promotion, but even from a knowledge point of view, because we have to be in this education field for a more than 30 years or 35 years, right? So in this period of our service to the education sector or the society, we should be always engaged in learning, right? But apart from engaging our classes in the regular working hours, how can we learn? So definitely this e-learning is a platform. ICT is the technique, we support the tools where we can involve in our lifelong learning environment. So high quality, cost effective professional development in the workplace is possible. Upgrading of employee skills, increased productivity. So definitely when you have acquired all these skills and all, definitely it will be an asset to the institute, right? Because you are training the students, right? So definitely in one or the other way, you are contributing to the institution. At the same time, you are contributing to the community of students and also the society. So upgrade of employee skills and increased productivity will always be there. So development of new learning culture is there, and sharing of costs of training time with the employees and increased portability of training. So these are some of the benefits as far as employees stakeholder is concerned. And the next one is the government. When it comes to the government as a stakeholder, increase the capacity and cost effectiveness of education and training systems through ICT and e-learning environment, to reach target groups with limited access to conventional education and training, to support and enhance the quality and relevance of existing educational structures, to ensure the connection of educational institutions and curricula to the emerging networks and information resources, to promote innovation and opportunities for lifelong learning. So these are the benefits for the government as a stakeholder, because the government is also having a responsibility, right? Because it's the responsibility of the government to make each and every citizen knowledgeable, aware of the current technology and digital literacy, right? So to support that, definitely these kind of technologies and platforms are very much important, and definitely these are some of the benefits to the government. So with this, some of the notable initiatives of use of ICT in education in India include Indira Gandhi National Open University. IGNOU uses radio, television, and internet technologies to deliver the content to their students, right? It's a very popular open university. So National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning, a concept similar to the open courseware initiative of MIT. It uses internet and television. Then Ekalavya initiative, which uses internet and television to promote distance learning. And IIT Kanpur has developed Brihaspati, an open source e-learning platform. I request each one of you to just get more information regarding these initiatives of ICT in India, right? So definitely it offers a great an experience, and of course a good knowledge when you are aware of these things, and when you explore some of the very important benefits of these initiatives. And premier institutes like IIM Calcutta have entered into a strategic alliance with NIIT for providing programs through virtual classrooms. And Jadavpur University is using a mobile learning center. And IIT Bombay has started the program of CDEEP, Center for Distance Engineering Education Program, as emulated classroom interaction through the use of real-time interactive satellite technology, right? And one laptop per child in Maharashtra. So these are some of the ICT initiatives in India. So with this, what are the main factors that affects the adoption of ICT education in India? Because in India, we have many rural places, villages, where the people are not aware of the internet and other things. Of course, the recent generations are quite aware of, but still there are some remote places where the people are not aware of, and even the facilities are not there, right? So then what are the main factors that really affect the adoption of ICT in education? The first is the mission or goal of a particular system, then the programs and curriculum, the teaching learning strategies and the techniques, the learning material and resources, the communication and interaction, support and delivery systems, students, tutors, staff and other experts, management, housing and equipment and evaluation. So these are some of the factors that affects the adoption of ICT in education, and the department or an institute or whoever responsible should concentrate on this, and with this definitely we can take the education to the next level with the support of ICT and e-learning platforms and the environment. So some of the potential drawbacks of using ICT in education. So definitely many a times we debate, we argue, right? And because even when we look at the kids, because when there was, during the COVID period, all schools have started giving instruction to the kids through online platform, and definitely mobile was a device which students or the kids inevitably have to use, and that has created some kind of havocs in the learning of the students, of course, right? So limitations are always there, but we should be very, very responsible in handling such kind of situations, right? So here some of the potential drawbacks of using ICT in education are, although it offers a whole lot of benefits, there are some risks of using ICT in education which have to be mitigated through a proper mechanisms. And these are, it may create a digital divide within the class, as students who are more familiar with ICT will reap more benefits and learn faster than those who are not as technology savvy. Because in a class of 60 students, we can't expect everyone is well versed with the today's digital technology or ICT, because there are some students who cannot who are not who cannot purchase, or who cannot affordable to buy a smartphones, right? Okay, so because they are constrained by the money, right? And even some students did not get an opportunity, right, or an environment to well versed with the technology in such a heterogeneous group. So definitely if we adopt a fully ICT based education, that definitely leads to a digital divide in the class. So we have to be very careful in handling such a issue or a drawback. Then it may shift the attention from primary goal of learning process to developing ICT skill, which is the secondary goal, right? So that's also very much important when we are using ICT and e-learning platform. And many times, we concentrate more on the skill rather than the core concept, which is very much important to understanding a particular subject. So we have to be very careful, and we should concentrate on that, right? So we should help students to even concentrate on developing ICT skills. At the same time, it's very much important that they should also understand the core concept, right? So we should make them learn the core concept and as well as the skills needed for the ICT, right? Both are very much important. And actually the primary goal of learning is to understand the core of the subject. The next is, it can affect the bonding process between the teacher and the student, as ICT becomes a communication tool rather than a face-to-face conversation, and thus the transactional distance is increased. In order to overcome this issue or a drawback, in many schools and the colleges which have adopted ICT in education have used a blended mode of teaching and learning, blended mode, right? So they use the conventional learning and interaction along with the ICT based education. It is called a blended, right? So by doing so, we are making it balanced, and also this kind of drawback can be overcome to a certain extent. So another very important thing is, also since not all teachers are experts with ICT, they may be lax in updating the course content online, which can slow down the learning among the students. And of course, it's the responsibility of the individual teacher in this digital era to get updated with the recent technology. So there is no other way. So the potential of plagiarism is high, as a student can copy information rather than learning and developing their own skills. So this is another very important drawback or a threat, because many of you have already experienced and debated on the ChatGPT tool, right? So the ChatGPT tool provides a lot of assistance to the users. For example, if you don't know how to write a professional letter, then if you ask a ChatGPT, the GPT will give you a professional letter, right? So similarly, not only that, many such questions can be effectively answered by that kind of tools. Then definitely it's a very challenging issue for the teachers to understand the potential of plagiarism, right? Whether the students have copied the information or whether they have learned and they have written on their own, and that's very challenging. Then there is a need for training all stakeholders in ICT. The cost of hardware and software can be maybe a one-time investment. So a national vision supported by coherent strategies and actions is the most important factor in integrating ICT in education. So successful implementation of ICT requires a strong national support from government and local support from relevant institutions and education authorities. So having understood the potential drawbacks of ICT, in order to mitigate some of these potential drawbacks, so definitely we need very coherent strategies and actions, and from the government and the local support from the relevant institutions and also the education authorities. So with this comment, I just sum up the whole lecture and the content. The first point we must remember is ICT increases the flexibility of delivery of education. So from our earlier discussion, I hope you understand that, and even you might have already experienced it. ICT increases the flexibility of delivery of education. It can influence the way students are taught and how they learn. It can improve the quality of learning and thus contribute to the. It provides several tangible and intangible benefits for all stakeholders involved in the economic growth of the country. Wider availability of best practices and best course material in education can be shared by means of ICT. We just discussed and understand that, and of course we have already experienced it. ICT has changed the dynamics of various industries as well as influenced how people interact and work in the society. Internet usages in home and workplace has grown exponentially because of this. And then ICT has the potential to remove the barriers that are causing the problems of low rate of education in any country. ICT has the potential to remove the barriers that are causing the problems of low rate of education. I think it's repeated, sorry. It can be used as a tool to overcome the issues of cost, less number of teachers, and the poor quality of education, as well as time and distance barriers. E-learning is a convenient option for organization in certain situations. Example, excuse me. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Please.
Gopal sir, kindly mute yourself.
Gopal,
sir.
Sir.
Please. I'm about to conclude the session. Please spend another few minutes. E-learning is a convenient option for organizations in certain situations when there is a need to reach many geographically dispersed learners, as we already understand this. And today it has become very common to organize webinars and those things. And the corporate companies have already started, because the client is in USA, the software developer is in India, the technocrat is in India, the stakeholder is in USA. So how can they interact regarding the project, and how can they resolve the issues, right? They cannot travel all the time to India. It's not cost effective, but still across the globe, they can connect through such kind of platforms and they can interact, they can demonstrate, they can understand, and that's how the things are very efficient, flexible, and cost effective. And that's what is the meaning of this particular statement. Technology is needed both to create e-learning material and make it accessible to the learner. So of course, we are already quite familiar with this, and with a lot of technologies and tools which we are already familiar. We have already practiced how we can share the material, learning material, and make it accessible to the learners. So everything we have already learned, and we can take it to the next level with advanced technologies, and we can make it much more efficient, flexible, and also the cost effective. So with this, I thank each one of you for your patience listening from the past almost 2.5 hours. So now I'm about, I have concluded my session on the topic enhancing the quality and accessibility of higher education to the use of ICT and e-learning. So with this, I also thank the administrative and staff of the University of Mysore and HRDC Center for having given this opportunity to interact with you in this session in online mode on this particular topic. Now, I request you, in case if you have any questions or any clarifications, so please feel free to interact with me. I try my level best to answer your questions and convince you in this regard. So now over to the participants. Any questions or any clarifications or any comments, anything as such?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. Anybody else? Please feel free, because it is just exchanging our knowledge and ideas, because you're also teachers, you also have a good experience and you have a critical thinking, and definitely you may have some doubts which are not yet clarified. So you can share it across, and anybody can answer and anybody can clarify. It is just a forum of intellectuals who can learn from many sources, right? Of course, for this session, I am an instructor, but that doesn't mean that I should not learn from you, because you're also an experienced teachers, and we can learn from you as well. So please, if you have anything as such, please share it. Any questions? Any clarifications? Any views?
We normally hearing ICT world is hampering the creativity of the people.
Yes.
What's your opinion, sir?
But madam, please repeat.
Normally we are hearing.
No,
Hello,
I cannot hear
sir?
you properly, madam, please.
Sir, I'm audible?
Yes, madam, yes. There was some disturbance.
Sir, normally we have heard, and also it has been in the talk of everyone, that ICT is not giving much importance for the creativity. It is somewhere snubbing the creativity among the youth and the people.
Yes. Okay. No, madam. That's what I said. It's not that. That's true. But because even with the support of ICT and all, we can still have a creativity, right? For example, you say, let us take an example of extracurricular activity, right? Maybe you want to compose a music, or you want to draw something, right? So definitely you can make use of the technology, right? Nobody can stop you from thinking in a different way, or you can create it. It is just an assistive tool, right? But it is in our hands and our mindset. That's how the technology is there to support you, right? But the technology will never tell you that you should not use it. But somewhere our mindset is like that. Okay, when something is available easily, so we are, our tendency is to take it in a easy way, right? But definitely, maybe there is a debate on that. So any such technology when introduced, so we'll have such limitations, but we should have control over it, right? For example, if I'm a music director, definitely I can make use of the technology. I can come out with my creative tunes, right, for all class of audience, right? I can experiment and I can see what is best, and I can prototype and I can show it. Similarly, if I am a good painter, I definitely make use of the technology. I can come out with a very creative paintings, right? Even we have witnessed the great people earlier days only, Raja Ravi Verma, Leonardo da Vinci, etc. Right? They're great people, but it doesn't mean that we cannot think or creatively. But only thing is the technology supports your creative thinking, right? But it's all in our mindset. But somewhere we should understand that, because in any profession there is something like the ethics, right, and sincerity at work, right? So my according to my understanding is that technology is only a supportive tool, but it never deny you. Suppose if you have that thinking ability or a creative ability, it just supports you. Even with this, you can come out with creative ideas and creative ways of solving a problem, right, and convenient way of handling the situation, etc., etc., right? Yes, hope you are convinced. Definitely, there are such issues and the questions which are many times takes hours together to debate, right? Yes, anything else, please? Okay, if there are no questions, let me conclude the session. So,
Sir, thank you very much, sir, for your clarification. Sir, we understood after this, the great teachers cannot be replaced by the technology.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
a simple teacher, a teacher of at the normal rate of their ability is really a questionable in the future. Thus, the resistance.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, madam. Thank you. Thank you very much. Right. Shall we wind up if there are no questions? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Sir, vote of thanks ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Audible, dear participant, audible?
Yes, sir. Audible, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
This is Rajsekhar, yes. This session is very informative and effective session, sir. I thank
you.
resource person, Professor H.S. Nagendraswamy, sir, for enlightening our knowledge on behalf of UGC-HRDC, University of Mysore. Participated teachers, I thank you so much. I thank you one and all, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everyone.
ವಂದನೆಗಳು ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳು ಸರ್ ತಮಗೆ. ವಂದನೆಗಳು ಅಭಿನಂದನೆಗಳು ಸರ್.
Thank you,
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್.
Yeah, what?